What's good, everybody? My name is Alckemy. Welcome to the channel. Today, you and I are going to be taking an unbiased review of the Syntakt, and rather than doing a deep dive into the machine, I will show you a couple of cool features that are highlights about this, but I really wanted to show you, for one, how I have integrated this within my workflow with the DAW, and two, talked about how I've actually found this to be a useful tool that is probably outside of what you're expecting. So before we get started, aside from the begging of liking the video and all that stuff, I wanted to tell you that you most likely don't need this. You most likely, unless if you're somebody that wants to go DAW-less 100%, you want a groove box that can also be a sequencer that you can hook up to other machines. There's that. If you just want a drum machine, this is really good. If you want something that you can actually send in as inputs and act as a quote-unquote interface to get USB through audio through external stuff, so you can hook your phone up, that's all good and dandy, but this isn't anything that your laptop or FL Studio, Ableton, Bitwig, whatever the heck you use, cannot do. This is something that is physical. This is something that, well, maybe aside from the sequencer, because the sequencer is pretty badass, but this is something that is definitely like a luxury item if you're somebody that already has a DAW. So right off the bat, I just wanted to tell you all that I bought this for two main reasons. One, because I'm somebody that is really gaining an appreciation for hardware. I'm also somebody that likes to learn about new stuff and loves to cover technology, if you've seen the reviews that I have. The other thing is that Corey and I got this together so that way I could, learn something new with her. So, you know what I mean? It was kind of like a bonding thing. Now, as far as the actual sounds go, let's go ahead and take a listen to what the heck I have prepared for you, which I'm really proud of, but this is kind of a short way of how I utilize the Syntakt in a project. I made this drum loop a little while ago, or this is actually how I started the project rather, and it sounds like this. And this is what we ended up with. Loudness warning, this is going to be very loud. 3, 2, 1. Okay, so let's talk about a quick reality check. The first thing is that no, I did not just make these sounds straight from within the Syntakt, and if you're expecting that, it's not going to happen. Hardware has a major limitation with free flow of working with things and resampling and stuff, and even though an octatrack can do like cool resampling and whatnot, this for one cannot do that, and two, there's just not enough juice in this as far as the distortion and stuff in order to like get a crazy sound bite like that. That being said, everything that was a drum or that was like a percussion thing started from that cute little loop that I played at the very beginning. And what I did was I went and processed it to hell and found some new stuff and like made new drums out of it or whatever, and made it into something that was more suitable for my kind of music that I like to make. And had I not maybe come to this at the right time, I don't think that I would have had the appreciation for starting here. But I do think that it's also important to be transparent that I didn't need to start here. It's just kind of me. But that's the individuality part of it, right? This is what I have found to be useful to me, to be able to start with something very simple and then turn it into something that's more complicated, if you will. So the Syntakt is really good at a lot of things. What I have come to respect it for the most is that it is a wonderful composition tool. And what I mean by that is not a composition tool to create your craziest shit, but more so of a means of a sketch pad that's very fast to access to. You turn the thing on, make sure that it's got some output to either a stereo or, in this case, I've got it hooked to my computer, but you just get going and you just start plugging stuff away and plug in data, and all the sounds are already ready to go because by default, the engine's already pulled up on a default project, right? Sorry if it's quiet, but yeah, I mean, it's super sick. I love the fact that I can load this as a VST via Overbridge and get USB via audio. Just like the analog heat, I can plug my phone or an iPad into this and I can basically play external sounds through this into the computer. So it's kind of like an extra interface, which is not really why I bought it, but it's an extra perk. And then I guess you can also send it through the effects block or whatever of if we go to shift effects, we've got reverb delay, and then there's a master, or I guess like an effect block overdrive or something, and filters and stuff too. Yeah, so with that, it's a very easy way to do extremely fast sound design because of all the engines that are available. It's got 4 analog engines that are built in with it, which I don't really have any analog stuff. And yeah, I wanted to see what all the hype is about, and I like it. It's different. It's voltage, so that means that it's not going to be the exact same every time. Whereas with this stuff, it is digital, so that means that it's binary, and that means that it's going to produce the same exact sound regardless. But the sequencing aspect of this, the fact that you can do so much cool stuff with the sequencer, is part of why I bought the Oxy One. This just is kind of like an Oxy One. Well, that's not true. There's a lot of stuff that the Oxy One can't do that this can do, and vice versa. This more so obviously comes with sounds, but because this is integrated within the sounds aspect of it, kind of like more so the Poly and Play, except with all digital or all synthesized sounds, you can, set a sequence on this. And then if I want to change the sound, I can actually go, all right, on this step, I want this to be an open hat. So check this out. This is really quiet. Let me turn this up a bit. And so in that aspect, you can do per step changes. And the other thing too is that it doesn't even have to be the same engine. There's this little thing to where if you have this open and you turn this encoder right here, you'll see that there's a list. I know that you can't read this most likely, but you'll see that I can load up to 128 different presets of any engine, any sound, and replace it on this step, which is pretty awesome. And the other thing too is if you are completely new to sound design, or you just want to like try to get something, completely random, then you can go synth, hit yes, and now I've got a brand new hi-hat, and I can keep doing this until I find something that I like. And you can do that with all of the engines here. Or you can just set it to, hey, I'm going to turn this on and go hold that down and go, okay, that doesn't actually work, but I was hoping that I could just randomize the patch like that, but you actually cannot do that. But you can change it manually and say, okay, well, let's do something different. So change the tuning or whatever. That would be cool if they allowed you to do that per step in an update, because that would make this even more crazy, but it's not that big of a deal. And the other thing that I really like about the sequencer is, of course, the micro timing. I can move everything late, and so that means that I can sketch my wonky halftime beats that I love to program and make all my hats late or whatever. And then, if I wanted to take my claps, I can make them early by just shifting this over with the arrow key, and you'll see that it's moving this way. And now, we've already got a cool little beat going, right? So we can take a kick like that, boom, boom, boom. I can make the kick late. And then there we go. I've got a beat going super fast in seconds. And that's what I'm talking about. If you got an idea in your head and you need to get something out, this is incredibly fast in which to sketch, especially if you are acclimated within the workflow. There's some other things that I do really think is cool about this. Like, it's got LFOs. It does have random LFOs. Unfortunately, to make a smooth random, you have to set the destination of LFO2 to the speed of LFO1. So like randomize maybe the speed. Yeah, so you do this, and then you go to LFO1, and then you change this into random here, and then you have to set that to whatever it is that you want to do that to. So because you only have 2 LFOs, that kind of stinks that you have to give one up in which to create a smooth random, to which Electron, if you're watching this, please heed my call of being able to just add another waveform that is smooth and random. That would be awesome. The other thing is that this doesn't have any like digital clipping built into it. It doesn't have a compressor that's built into it. I would love it if every Electron box had, just an overdrive that's built in that will actually do like mixing clipping, to where if it goes past the 0 dB mark, it's just going to cut it off, because that way you can push the box really loud. Although Databroth told me that everything that is hardware, because it has a max volume that it can output to, will clip at some point. It might not be at 0 dB, but it will clip. I love to send things into clipping for, not getting too loud, but creating distortion as we push the signal into it. But I mean, you know what I mean? You can just put a clipper on a VST if you want to, and then, you know, like newfangled audio, and then set that to clip as well, and XYZ. So yeah, all in all, this thing is expensive, and there's a lot of different stuff that I think that the average person can get for the same price that would warrant, how do you say, better value. So for example, you could get a Mac Mini for $600 and then get yourself a copy of Bitwig Studio for like, you know, get it on sale for like $300, and then there you go. You don't have to purchase anything else. But for me, I've kind of been accumulating tools over the years as I've been growing the channel and stuff, and I'm very selective about the hardware and stuff that I tried to grab. And so for me, I wanted to try something that was not necessarily in the box. And it's a shame that the cost of entry is so high, but at the same time, I found a lot of value, and I found a lot of interest and joy from working on something like this. So all in all, this is probably my favorite groove box that I have purchased. And it might be because of the time that I'm at in my life, but I've owned a Poly and Play. I've owned an MPC Live 2. And I think that this has the right amount of limitations and the right amount of perspective that I needed in which for me to use this as integration within my DAW, because I will never leave Bitwig, or I'll never leave, you know, a DAW workflow. I'm just too efficient at it. I'm too good at it. And as fast as I can sketch within this, it's one thing to sketch an idea. It's another thing to turn something into a complete finished project. And I think that's really important to consider. I do think that trying to record a whole song through this, even though you can do it with patterns and whatnot, would probably be a pain in the butt. But in any case, I wanted to give you just my thoughts on this and why I enjoyed this. And I hope that you found some, you know, insight on why I think that the Syntakt was a good buy for me. I've actually got an octatrack on the way, which again, I'm paying with my own money. I'm kind of succumbing to the octatrack ecosystem, but I'm learning that I'm finding a lot of really unique use cases for how this is affecting my music. And I'm really happy with the music that I'm outputting as of late, especially what I just played for you earlier. And so I'm going to keep going and keep exploring this. So if you're interested, you know, I have an affiliate link that is in the bottom for Z Sounds. That will just give me a small commission. But I would say that, you know, if you are going to purchase this, you know, I like definitely like get it as cheap as you can. You know what I'm saying? As, you know, even though I would appreciate it, find it as cheap as you can, because it is expensive and it is, you know, hard times out there and whatnot. And this is something that you probably don't need, but just throwing that out there. So in any case, hopefully you enjoyed the video. Let me know if you have any questions, and let me know if you want to see more stuff on the Syntakt. I'll see you on the next one.